it will be our 30th birthday. So it's been an amazing 30 years. And if any of you are interested, I think 30 is, certainly in the Western world, it's the gift for a 30th anniversary is pearl. So if anybody wants to buy me some pearl earrings, gratefully received. It's a business that we're very proud of and that we've managed to continue to grow and develop over the last 30 years or more, in line with the growth and development of actually the international educational sector. And I'll come back and chat a little bit about that in a while. So that's me, David Brown. And I just want to tell you one thing, that I think as you see me on the screen, I seem to have a moustache across here. I think somebody has played with my Zoom filter, and so they've managed to put a moustache on my filter. If I put my finger here, it disappears. And I can assure you I've shaved this morning, and I'm not sure yet whether I'm enjoying having a moustache, but you'll need to put up with that for the rest of this particular session, the gremlins of Zoom. So a couple of other introductions. I'm just going to share my screen, introduce you to a few of our key staff, people who I'm sure you'll know. So there's me, currently with the role of president, but co-founder of what's now Oxford International Education Group. And I'm just going to run through very quickly a number of our recruitment staff who are focused particularly on our schools and colleges division. If you recall, as a company, we've got our language training division, we've got our university partnerships, pathways and digital division, and we've got our what we call our schools and colleges division. And so these people that I'm going to introduce to you now, and they're all on this call, or most of them are, so you'll hopefully be able to see their faces on the gallery, and also I'm sure you've got meetings with them as we go through the day. We've got Chris Broadhurst, who is our Director of Student Recruitment for Schools and Colleges. Chris is waving at you now, and I know you all know Chris very well. He's up there in your screen in the naughty corner, and you'll be hearing from him as we go through. And we've also got George and Neil, who are regional directors for different parts of the world. Neil for EMEA in Latin America, and George for APAC. And so those, between the three of those redoubtable figures, we cover the globe and help with all the recruitment activity that we need to make the schools a success. Then we've got some regional teams. We've got Carly, we've got Lynn, we've got Liz, we've got Luke, who's second generation now of Fosters to have helped us with our recruitment. We've got Aaron and Andrew. And so all those folk, again, they're waving at you, and they are all involved in Asia and helping to recruit and to helping the whole recruitment chain process from the Asia region. We've got EMEA team. As you can see, quite a big team, but then it's a big region, and it's a region that's got a lot of interest in the sort of programs and courses that we offer. So we've got Albina, we've got Shuhan, we've got Sophie, Alexandra, Sasha, Danielle, Chimaka, Lumila, and Olga. So an excellent team. And again, you'll know most of these people. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the sales process, but suffice to say, we are very proud as a company of all of the people that come in and help us with our recruitment, in part because they are the frontline face and embodiment of what it is that we're trying to do as a company. Good. Okay, so that's the teams. And I'm going to come back to me now. I hope. There we are. So introduce myself, I've introduced the teams. A quick chat about what it is that we're trying to do in the next couple of days. As you know, it's called Insights. And, you know, there've not been so many great things to come out of the past year, the pandemic year, coronavirus year. But one of the really great things, I think, has been how we've all been able to use technology to communicate much more efficiently and effectively, and to keep that chain, that channel of relationship moving and going. And this type of event is typical of those. You know, a year ago, really the only people that organized big events were, you know, Alfie, were ISEF, etc. And we've all, learned it's actually relatively straightforward to do, and that with this technology we can invite and talk to so many of our friends and partners, and have a dedicated event. And this is a great showcase of that. And we're expecting, I think, between 300 or 400 participants during the course of the couple of days. And the idea is it's a chance to talk one-to-one with some of the guys that you've just seen on the screen, and to catch up with how things are going, and to learn and find out about where we're at and what the programs are doing and what new things we might have coming too. So there's a chance to have one-to-one sessions, but there's also a chance to have some training sessions, or some from the front sessions. Some of those include, and you've probably all seen the program, but there are some great sessions. There's a session about finding the program that's right for your student. There's going to be a great workshop about digital marketing and how to get the most out of digital marketing. There's a fascinating session on visa training and how to keep up with the ongoing constant changes of visa regulations for bringing students into the UK, and mixed in with those elements of how to cope with the various various changing COVID regulations that we're faced with. There might be a really interesting discussion about Harry and Meghan and whether they were right to talk to Oprah Winfrey about the royal family in the UK, but we're just waiting for confirmation as to whether Prince Charles will be able to join us for that session. So I'll keep you posted and focused as we go along to see whether that session actually takes place. We've got a wonderful session from Doverbrooks about skills for the future, and about how education is more than just the pure academics. It's about life skills that help us to progress through further studies and then on into vocations and so on. And then we've got a fascinating session from Buxmore, our short course, academic course organizer, talking about tomorrow's leaders, which I find particularly fascinating because about 38 years ago, my first ever job in international education was as a camp counsellor at Buxmore. And that was in the mid-80s, and that was my first experience. And that's how I came to love international education. I loved working as a counsellor. I loved the company. I loved interacting with some of the international students, parents, agents, and I grew into it from there. And that's how I got involved in setting up this company, and how we were able, a few years after that, to actually take on Buxmore when the founder of Buxmore decided it was time for him to retire. So that's kind of a really nice, got a really nice circle to it. So Buxmore and developing the leaders of tomorrow, and I like to think that even back in '85, it was then developing the leaders of tomorrow for this current era. So that's what we've got lined up, and Chris will tell you shortly. But following on from me, there's a wonderful keynote session from Mr. Barnaby Lennon. So that's going to be really interesting as well. So that's a little bit about the event. Final introductions. I told you Oxford International. In a sense, the overall company is less important. It's a brand. It's a brand that stands for something. But I think more importantly are the products or the schools or the courses that we run, because those are the things that people like you, that are partners, really learn about and buy into, and those are things that make us, I think, a success. So schools and colleges, that includes our Doverbrooks School, our Oxford International College, which is the #1 ranked A-level college in the UK, Oxford Sixth Form College, and as I say, our academic short course provider Buxmore. So all of those are absolutely wonderful institutions, wonderful schools, and they create wonderful programs. And in a sense, at Oxford International, we're just guardians of those schools. I think they fit well with our culture, but I can't say that we created their culture and that we created their style of academic delivery. I think we brought them into our organisation because they fit what we do, and we love the way they work and the education they provide. So I think, it's that focus on the schools and what the schools do rather than the overarching company, Oxford International. So those are sort of introductions. Final introductions, I know from all of you, all of our partners out there, and we're thrilled that you've all been able to join us. We're thrilled that you continue to work with us and to help us continue to develop and grow our programs. I'm particularly thrilled because, you know, again, in 30 years of being involved with Oxford International, I know there are people on this Zoom that have been working with us for 30 years, that worked with us way back when we were just out of school and trusted us in those days, and have seen us grow and develop, and have helped us grow and develop. And all of the partners that we have are very special, but certainly those people that have been with us over the many years are incredibly special to us. So we appreciate all the input from you guys. So I'm just going to say a few words about recruitment and the recruitment process, because obviously, you know, what all of you folk do out there in the market, both our team and all of you partners or agents or whatever you like to call yourselves, you're so fundamental to making international education a success. You know, often nowadays, you know, I sometimes question myself, well, you know, yes, we're an education company, but equally we're a recruitment company, because if we're not successful with recruitment, then we've got really nobody to educate. And so we have to be fantastic at that whole recruitment. And many of you who may know me from over the years, I don't know if you know, but I've got a very strong affinity with the recruitment process. When we started the company 30 years ago, just the two of us, myself and a guy called Robert, and my twin brother joined us shortly thereafter. But at that time, 30 years ago, we had no money, and the phones would ring most of the day with people asking us to pay them money that we owed them. And I quickly figured out that the best way to avoid that was to go on long sales trips. So I used to, you know, say to Rob, okay, I'm off to Latin America for 3 weeks, or the Far East for 3 weeks. You know, no mobile phones in those days, lucky to get a fax. So you know, I always apologize to Robert, but I left him back home in the office while I was trying to go out and find partners. I'd check in with him every now and again and say, how are we doing? And he'd say, oh, people are chasing for money. And I say, well, sorry, I'm just off for dinner with these wonderful people in Sao Paulo, Brazil. So there was a bit of a split in terms of, you know, the stress I think that we were under in those days. But I've always been very focused on recruitment, and I've always understood how fundamentally important working with partners and agents, how important that is. And it reminds me of when I left. I used to work for a very large competitor. And when I left 30 years ago to set up Oxford International, I went to my boss at the time and I said, I was very honest. And I said, look, we want to start developing some of our own programs. We believe we can give the quality of provision and, you know, the trust and the hard work to make it a success. And I remember really clearly, he looked at me and he said, you won't succeed. You just won't succeed. He said, because people, agents, partners, they are loyal to companies and not to people. And I didn't disagree with him at the time, but internally, I fundamentally disagree with him, because I think people in our market are very loyal to programs that work well. So maybe the overall company, but more specifically to a Dover Brooks or an Oxford International College. And I think they're very, very loyal to individuals. People like all of our recruitment team that we've just looked at briefly there. And they're loyal to those because I think those people develop a relationship of trust, a relationship of understanding with our partners, and moving students around from one part of the globe to the UK or to other parts of the world involves a lot of trust and involves a lot of worry and concern. And so the more I think our partners are aware and happy that we are offering that deep level of trust, and that they know if there are any types of issue or problem, we can help and resolve it. And so we all look good, and as if we are caring first and foremost for the student, then, you know, I think we will end up being successful. And so that was my view. You know, let's base the success of our new company on the relationships that we can build with our partners, and let's make it our aim never to lose any partners, just to grow with them as we grow through the years and add new programs and different products, and help as we all spread into different areas of international education. So I was quite pleased actually, because, you know, I think that my boss of those days was wrong. And actually people are loyal to individuals that they trust and they know will look after them, and they're loyal to specific programs and products within the broader company. So I think, you know, I think that's something that still holds true today. And I think if underpinning all of those ideals are a huge focus on the quality of academic provision and the quality of the academic outcome, then that whole cycle is really self-fulfilling, because the students are happy, the parents are happy, and it just helps to create an ongoing strong reputation. And I was thinking about, again, the sales process, and maybe why, for example, as a company, we've been able to continue to grow our schools in terms of student numbers over the last year, which has been a desperately difficult year. And again, I think it goes back to, the way we try to engage. And it reminded me of another previous boss. In fact, the boss before the boss I just told you about, it was my first ever job. And I was working as a salesperson for an education book publisher called Heinemann. We used to sell English teaching books. And they sent me out to Greece to run their office in Athens. And the director of sales came over with me, and they gave me no training whatsoever. They just threw me into Athens and said, "Here's the books." And I remember saying to him, "But Guy, how is it? What makes a good salesman? How can you sell to people?" And the piece of advice he gave me, and this was the only sales and recruitment advice I've ever had, and he just looked at me and he said, "You know what, David? What worked for me was I wear tight white trousers," and that's absolutely true. And he said, "So I think you need to get yourself a pair of tight white trousers, and that way you can go into these offices and meet people, and you will immediately make a big impression." Well, I think if I wore tight white trousers, I'd definitely make a big impression. I didn't buy into that. I decided I'd find my own method for engaging with people, and that method has always been to get to know people, to befriend people, to find out what they want, and to build a relationship. And to make sure that relationship is strong, and that relationship ensures that everything that partner needs in terms of the first point of contact from a student all the way through to a student graduating from a high school, that all those points of contact are incredibly well done. And that's, I think, what we've tried to spread through all of our schools and colleges, through all of our Oxford International different programs and products, that belief that that relationship and that partnership and that collaboration is at the heart of everything we do. And I'm delighted to see that those relationships continue to grow and to thrive. And it's wonderful to think that despite all the talk about digital recruitment and direct recruitment, that nearly 90% of our students still come through our partners. And I think that's testament to the fact that we understand how important those partnerships are. And it's testament to how much work and effort that we put into ensuring that those partnerships work incredibly well. Even this last year, as I say, incredibly difficult. Many of our, I think, competitors have not found the going so easy. We sort of have rewritten some of our playbook, and we've made sure that we bring in extra staff, that we increase communication, that we increase support to our agents, to parents, to students, to give them everything they need to know, answer every question before they need to answer it, to ensure that they feel entirely comfortable with all the new regulations. And so we've built around that and supported that, and that's been tremendously successful in terms of ensuring that recruitment process continues. I often think, I have a role at Oxford International, as I say. I now work as the president for the company, but in some ways, the last 30 years, I think Oxford International has been more of a hobby, and I think my day job, almost, I feel like is being a member of the international education community, because I think so many of us who work in international education are incredibly committed to it. We love the opportunities that it offers and brings to young people from all over the world. The life-changing opportunities that they can bring in. And so I think it's an industry that's unified by people who've got that passion, who understand what it can do, and it's unified by that strength of relationship between our partners overseas and our schools and colleges and the programs and the products that we offer, and all of the different pieces of the jigsaw in between. And as I said earlier, you people out there, you're all such a key part of that. We are incredibly proud of our schools and colleges, incredibly proud of what they do, of the programs they offer, of the outcomes they give and the wonderful young people that we see coming out of the programs, having been educated in different ways. So we're incredibly proud of that. We continue to work on that quality. We continue to work at adapting and amending the success and the criteria that we feed into our schools. And the last thing I want to say is really we can't thank you enough, not just for this difficult last year, but we can't thank you enough really over the last 30 years in the way you've helped us continue to grow and the way that you believe in the benefits of international education and let that shine through everything you do. So that's all I think I'll say. I'm looking forward to dropping into some of the sessions as we go through the days, and I'm looking forward to getting back to in-person meetings and to seeing some of you. But in the meantime, I think we're trying to make the best of communication and interaction, and this is a great way to share that interaction and to keep learning and to keep understanding how we're dealing with the difficulties we've all faced in the last year. So I'll leave you all now. Good to see you all. You've got 3 or 4 minutes now if you'd like to grab another cup of coffee or some fresh air to wake yourselves up. And then we're going to welcome Barnaby Lennon at 8:30 sharp for our keynote session. Thanks very much to everybody. Wonderful to see you all and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.